Once Jayden Quaintance is healthy, he could be unstoppable. What if I told you the San Antonio Spurs may have quietly added another player with legitimate all-defensive team potential? Another player capable of changing games without scoring 25 points, and someone who could eventually become the perfect front-court partner for Victor Wembanyama. That player is Jayden Quaintance. Right now, everyone is understandably focused on his recovery. After undergoing knee surgery, there's naturally some concern about when he'll be fully healthy and what he'll look like once he returns to the floor. But here's the thing. Sometimes injuries make fans forget just how special a prospect someone really is. Before the injury, many NBA scouts believe Jayden Quaintance possessed one of the highest defensive ceilings in the entire 2026 draft class. And once he's fully healthy, I'm talking 100% healthy, the possibilities with the Spurs become incredibly exciting. Today, we're breaking down exactly what Jayden Quaintance could become in San Antonio. How high is his ceiling? Why does he fit perfectly next to Victor Wembanyama? What parts of his game still need work? And could he eventually become one of the NBA's premier defensive big men? Let's get into it. The age factor makes this even more incredible. One thing that often gets overlooked, Jayden Quaintance is ridiculously young. He's younger than many incoming college freshmen despite already being an NBA player. That matters because almost everything we're evaluating today is based on a player who hasn't even come close to his physical prime. Imagine where he'll be in 3, 4, or even 5 years once he's fully developed physically and mentally. Most NBA big men don't truly understand defensive rotations, timing, and positioning until their mid-20s. Quaintance hasn't even scratched the surface. That's why patience is so important. The Spurs aren't drafting him because of what he'll be 6 months from now. They're investing in what he could become 5 years from now. And that's where things become really exciting. The defensive ceiling is absolutely elite. Defense is where Jayden Quaintance separates himself. Some players block shots, some protect the paint, some switch onto guards. Very few can potentially do all three. Quaintance has that ability. His instincts as a rim protector are exceptional. He doesn't simply jump because someone is near the basket. He anticipates. He reads the offensive player's body language. He waits until the perfect moment. Those instincts cannot be taught. They're natural. Now imagine adding NBA coaching, NBA strength training, and years of experience. Suddenly, you're looking at someone capable of becoming one of the league's premier interior defenders. And that's before mentioning his mobility. He's not just a traditional shot blocker. He moves exceptionally well for someone his size. He can hedge ball screens, recover quickly, contest perimeter shots, rotate from the weak side. Those are skills modern NBA defenses desperately need. The Wembanyama partnership could be historic. Now let's talk about the obvious question. How does Jayden Quaintance fit alongside Victor Wembanyama? Honestly, it might be one of the most fascinating defensive pairings in basketball. Picture this. A guard beats his defender. He attacks the rim. Waiting there, Victor Wembanyama. The offensive player kicks it out. The next drive comes. Now Jayden Quaintance rotates over. Another shot altered. Another possession ruined. Where exactly are teams supposed to attack? You can't simply drive, you can't rely on floaters, you can't live in the paint. Every possession becomes exhausting. The Spurs could eventually create one of those rare defenses where opponents begin settling for bad shots simply because attacking the basket becomes mentally draining. That's championship-level defense. Rebounding could become a major strength. Defense doesn't end with blocked shots. You have to finish possessions. This is another area where Quaintance shines. He's aggressive, physical. He boxes out. He pursues rebounds outside his area. He isn't waiting for the basketball to come to him. He attacks it. Those extra possessions matter. Defensive rebounds start fast breaks. Offensive rebounds create second-chance opportunities. Winning the rebounding battle consistently changes games. As he gets stronger, this part of his game could become even more dominant. His athleticism pops off the screen. One thing that immediately stands out watching Jayden Quaintance is how explosive he is. He plays above the rim. He finishes with authority. He covers an incredible amount of ground. His second jump is especially impressive. Many players land after contesting a shot and become spectators. Quaintance often lands, jumps again, and contests another attempt. That's elite athleticism. NBA strength coaches will only enhance that. Imagine him 2 years from now after adding another 15 to 20 pounds of muscle without sacrificing mobility. That's scary.
The offensive game still has plenty of room to grow. Now, let's be realistic. Jayden Quaintance is not yet a polished offensive player. That's completely okay. His scoring isn't what makes him exciting today. It's what it could eventually become. Right now, his offense is built around effort, lobs, putbacks, transition finishes, cuts, screen and roll action. Those are valuable NBA skills. But eventually, he'll need more. Can he develop a reliable mid-range jumper? Can he extend his shooting range? Can he attack slower defenders off the dribble? Can he become a better passer? Those are the next steps. The encouraging part, the Spurs have never needed him to average 25 points. If he develops into a consistent double-digit scorer while remaining elite defensively, that's an enormous win. The Spurs' development system gives him time. One thing the Spurs do exceptionally well: development. The Spurs don't rush prospects. They don't force young players into roles they aren't ready for. They build confidence gradually, improve fundamentals, increase responsibilities over time. That's exactly what Jayden Quaintance needs. There's no pressure for him to become a star immediately. Victor Wembanyama already draws defensive attention. Stephen Castle continues developing. Dylan Harper adds another dynamic creator. That allows Quaintance to focus on becoming elite in his role, and sometimes that's how stars quietly emerge. Health is the biggest question. Of course, we have to discuss the obvious concern: health. Knee injuries are never something fans want to hear, especially for young athletic players. The encouraging part is, the Spurs have every reason to be patient. This isn't a team chasing immediate championships. They're building something sustainable. If that means easing Jayden back slowly, limiting minutes, or even holding him out longer than expected, that's perfectly fine. The goal isn't October, it's the next decade. A fully healthy Jayden Quaintance is infinitely more valuable than rushing his recovery. Patience now could pay enormous dividends later. Imagine the Spurs 2 years from now. Close your eyes for a second. Picture this lineup: Stephen Castle, Dylan Harper, Victor Wembanyama, Jayden Quaintance, surrounded by shooters and versatile role players. How do opponents score consistently? Length everywhere, shot blocking everywhere, defensive versatility everywhere, transition opportunities after every stop. This is exactly how elite defensive teams are built, not just with one great defender, with waves of them. That's where Jayden becomes so important. He doesn't have to be Victor Wembanyama, he simply has to become the best version of himself. That version could still be one of the NBA's best defenders. His motor is already NBA ready. One quality coaches absolutely love: effort. You never question Jayden Quaintance's motor. He runs, competes, chases loose balls, rotates, communicates. Those habits translate immediately. Talent gets players drafted. Effort keeps them on the floor. The Spurs value players who compete every possession. Quaintance fits that culture perfectly. The confidence factor. Young players often improve rapidly once confidence catches up with talent. Imagine Jayden's first stretch of healthy games. The timing returns, the explosiveness returns, the trust in his knee returns. Everything speeds up mentally. Suddenly he isn't thinking, he's reacting. That's when great defenders become elite defenders. Confidence changes everything.
Could he become an all-defensive player? Let's ask the big question. Can Jayden Quaintance eventually make an NBA all-defensive team? Absolutely. Will it happen? That depends on several things: health, strength development, offensive improvement, experience. But the physical tools are unquestionably there: length, mobility, timing, shot blocking, motor, versatility. Those are the exact ingredients elite defenders possess. If everything comes together, multiple all-defensive selections are certainly within reach. Why he complements Wembanyama instead of overlapping. Some fans worry having two defensive bigs creates spacing issues. That's fair, but modern basketball isn't just about shooting, it's about versatility. If Jayden Quaintance becomes an elite screener, an elite roller, an elite offensive rebounder, an elite finisher, he creates value without needing to dominate the basketball. Meanwhile, Wembanyama stretches defenses with his expanding offensive game. The combination becomes incredibly difficult to defend. Each player enhances the other's strengths. That's roster construction done correctly. When Jayden Quaintance finally reaches 100% health, the Spurs won't just be adding another young player, they'll be adding one of the most intriguing defensive prospects in recent memory. He doesn't have to become a superstar scorer. He doesn't need flashy highlights every night. His value could come from making life miserable for opposing offenses, blocking shots, controlling rebounds, switching onto guards, protecting Victor Wembanyama, allowing Wembanyama to roam defensively, doing all the little things championship teams need. Will there be growing pains? Absolutely. Will his offensive game need development? Without question. But that's exactly why San Antonio is such a great fit. The Spurs can afford patience. They can let him recover fully. They can develop his body, refine his skill set, and gradually expand his role. And if everything breaks right, the NBA may eventually look back at Jayden Quaintance as another brilliant Spurs investment. Not because he was the flashiest prospect, not because he scored the most points, but because winning basketball has always been about players who impact the game in every possible way. Jayden Quaintance has that kind of potential. The knee injury may have delayed the timeline, it didn't lower the ceiling. And if he reaches that ceiling, the San Antonio Spurs could have one of the most intimidating young frontcourts the NBA has seen in years. If you're a Spurs fan, that's a future worth getting excited about. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like, subscribe, and let me know in the comments. How good do you think Jayden Quaintance can become once he's fully healthy? Could he eventually earn all defensive honors, or do you believe his ceiling is even higher? I'd love to hear your thoughts, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.